Because it's raining outside today, I'm going to be pulling this guy apart and inspecting some of the things that I think the Royal Purple has cleaned up, and I also want to check to see the carbon buildup. I know that the carbon buildup on engines that have been raced is less than one that's just been kind of putted around town, because you're supposedly burning that carbon out when you're running the engine red hot. So we'll see how well this one is actually cleaned up based on what I know about it. And I am curious to see how well this 175,000 mile engine looks on the inside. On top of that, we are also going to be pulling off components, and I will be posting them on my eBay store to sell. I'm going to try to part this guy out and make a little bit of my money back. So if you're interested in any components from this M54 B30 engine, my eBay link will be in the description below. I'm not going to go through this piece by piece. I'm just going to pull it apart and show you some interesting pieces that I found. So we'll get started on that. So as you can see, most of the composite materials are off the engine, the intake manifold, the valve cover. What I'm going to be mostly showing is what the inside of the timing cover looks like. I know that on the other engine it was really dirty in there. I also want to show the oil pan. I want to see how clean those are and how well the Royal Purple has cleaned those up. And I also want to take off the heads and show the pistons and the cylinder walls.
I want to give a little bit of backstory so that everybody's on the same page. The engine I'm disassembling right now is the original engine out of the car. It has 175,000 miles. Now this engine, before the Royal Purple, looked identical to the 162,000 mile engine I had bought from eBay. The reason I know that is because I had done a valve cover gasket about 6 months before I did the Royal Purple change. The top of the engine looked normal. It was dark, a little bit of buildup, just like the engine from eBay. So keeping in mind that these two engines were very similarly mild and looked very similar on the inside, the only difference is that this engine has less than 2,000 miles of Royal Purple running through it. I'm gonna pull clips from that other video of us pulling apart the eBay engine and show these two side by side so we can do a comparison.
So we just pulled off the oil filter housing, and as you can see here, it is pretty clean. This area up here by the engine, on the engine block is pretty clean, and then down here on the oil filter housing itself. And then I also was looking at this guy right here. This is still pretty soft. I've never replaced this, so that doesn't look too bad, but you can see that it is a lot cleaner than the engine that I was pulling apart to do the engine swap with. So I'm going to stop my disassembly right here for just a split second. I was planning on just tearing the entire engine apart and then getting clips and then talking at the end about everything I'm seeing, but I am going to make it a point to stop right here because I noticed this. It's loose. I went to go pull this off, and as I put the socket up to it to see if the socket was the right size, I noticed that the nut was completely loose. So I was obviously being watched over because my engine could have blown up any time. If that fell off, you lose oil pressure and then you're done. Which just goes to show you how important that wired oil pump nut is that I put on a couple videos ago. I'll have a card up here, and then I will also have the link in the description on where to buy the Turner Motorsports wired oil pump nut.
So here we've got the engine with the head off, and you can tell immediately this is a lot cleaner on the inside than the other engine that we had when we first got it. Now obviously we cleaned the other one out, but this one, you can even see here, it's like coming right off. The other ones we had to soak. This looks like it'll almost just come right off, just as it sits. I will show a clip of the other engine real fast, and you can see how much more is in this engine compared to this one. Now this has nothing to do with oil. This mostly has to do with the way you drive your vehicle. If you drive your vehicle hard and hot, you'll get this stuff out of your engine. If you just kind of put around town and do daily driving, you'll get buildup like this. So here's the head. Let's take a look underneath and see what it looks like. The valves have about the same amount of buildup as the other engine had on them. You can see it's quite thick. And we cleaned the majority of the other ones off before we put it back on. So this doesn't look too much different underneath here than the other engine we have. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed. I actually really had fun tearing this other engine down. I felt a lot less worried about breaking anything because I knew that this engine wasn't going to be going back in the car. Although I was able to get everything pulled apart successfully without damaging anything, it was still a lot less worrisome under this condition. I've said in other videos, if you haven't done an engine rebuild yourself, you really should try to get that experience under your belt. It's definitely changed the way I've looked at cars. So much more has been explained because I really just didn't understand what was going on and all the sophistication behind it. And once you start to pull it apart and look at piece by piece, it really just everything falls together, and it was a really fun experience to go through all this. Now, going back to the Royal Purple stuff, again, I don't know if Royal Purple is the best. That's why I started making these videos. I'm just sharing my experience. I am not sponsored by Royal Purple, so I'm not being paid to say any of this stuff. I just was suggested this oil by a friend. I took the suggestion, and I'm just reporting my findings. So hopefully I was able to show everybody all the clips that needed to be seen to show kind of an engine that's had Royal Purple and one that didn't. I didn't really take a lot of footage pulling the eBay engine apart because we were just kind of trying to do it quick, and I was just recording mostly time lapses because I wasn't doing like a specific tear down step-by-step video. So I was missing a lot of clips that I was hoping that I had, but hopefully I had enough to show everybody what was going on between the two engines. Kind of get like a shot for shot so that you can see specifically what was really dirty and what was really clean on engines with similar miles. So to finish up, like I've stated in my previous Royal Purple videos, if you have any experience with Royal Purple, Mobil 1, AMSOIL, leave your comments in the comment section below. We want to hear from you. Everybody, please, let's try to keep it civil. I know this topic gets a little bit heated when it comes to oils and stuff like that. Just remember, we're all car enthusiasts here, and I want to keep the comment section just as family friendly as I try to keep my videos. If you enjoyed what you saw, help out my video by hitting the like button, support my channel by hitting the subscribe button, and if you want to take this one step further, check out my Patreon link in the description below, and as always, we'll see everybody in the next video.